we have Rotary International Director-elect Marshall Butler, who has agreed to step in Patrick's shoes for the day. Here he is, Marshall Butler.
Well, thank you, Chris, for that introduction. And they are certainly big shoes to fill, filling the shoes of Mr. Patrick Eakes. I think he's traveling, but we'll be back home soon. I think I'm going to bump into him later this week up in Evanston. But today I have the honor of spending some time with you all. My first ever ZoomFormation that I get to lead, which is a lot of fun. Wanted to share with you all some recaps of what happened in Jacksonville a couple of weeks ago. I know many of you were there, and just wanted to give you some of the numbers and again relive some of the highlights. I think everyone had a great time. It was really fantastic to host you all in my hometown, born and raised in Jacksonville, Florida. And right off the top, we had over 430 people attend the Currents of Creativity Summit in Jacksonville, Florida. Really great crowd, a lot of energy. We raised a lot of money. We raised over $37,000 for polio, and that's before any matches. So we had 171 tickets that we sold for the 50-50. That netted out at $8,550. Very excited for District Governor nominee Anant from 7690 for winning $4,275. That's going to buy a lot of diapers for his family. His wife is expecting any day now, and I know that was a really nice little nest egg in advance of a newborn in the home. So that's $4,275 to the foundation right there. We had the 0K. Raise your hand if you were in the 0K. It was a lot of fun. We raised a lot of money just standing around eating donuts. That is my kind of fitness. And we raised $17,160 just by doing that. I hope you all enjoyed your t-shirts, the donuts. Special congratulations to Cookie Billings and all of her classmates in the first class. That's the 2013-2014 class. They raised the most money, so they won the Director's Cup in the inaugural first class 0K. So congratulations to the first class. I think some of the other classes, if we do this again, we're going to come gunning for you. You have a target on your back now, so be on the lookout. Finally, on Saturday night, we had the live auction and gave away some scarves, some ties, a golf outing. We gave away a vacation trip. And altogether, we raised $15,170 in that auction. So again, when we look at the grand total, that's $37,135 that goes to polio before any of the matches. So again, a huge congratulations and thank you to you all for your generosity, for raising money and having a good time. In terms of the actual summit, we started off Thursday night with Kristen Keene from Rethreaded. A whole lot of inspiration there. With her project where they help women escape the human trafficking circle. And with Rethreaded, they were our service project of choice for the weekend. And we collected over 5,000 pounds of t-shirts that they're going to be able to repurpose into products that they're going to sell to industrial and large companies that will use those as rags. And so that was a huge gift to them, so much so that Rotary Florida Pets has decided to take on Rethreaded as their service project of choice for 2026. So the gift keeps going on and on in terms of Rethreaded and the impact that our zone is going to have on that program. So can't thank you all enough. We also had Patrick Young. Patrick told some inspirational stories, just incredible to see the outlook of that young man and his outlook on life despite the circumstances that he is in. Friday, we featured innovation. Started off with a morning where we learned about autonomous vehicles. Then we went into some engaging workshops. And then we had super inspirational speakers with previous Rotary International President Stephanie Urchik and Angela Timbrook talking about the impact of the foundation and what can be done around the world in terms of developing aqueous agriculture to help provide opportunities for women to develop skills and to feed their communities and provide clean water. Saturday morning was a great kickoff. Apparently there was a T-Rex doing a conga through the ballroom. Not sure about that fellow, but we did have more inspiration with the Shark Tank, and we saw 3 incredible projects, 2 water projects and one that involves literacy, be presented as part of that Shark Tank. I do need to let you know that this Thursday in the Foundation Matters webinar, we'll be featuring two of those sessions, again, two of those projects along with a third session. So if you want to learn more about those projects, again, be sure to attend the Foundation Matters webinar this coming Thursday night. Later on that day, chocolate, beer, outings, and then a class dinner that was fantastic. I heard some folks mention that in the pre-roll, how much of a good time we had at the library. So thanks to all who organized that. And then we had Larry Lunsford, our president nominee, speak to us a couple of days before he actually was officially the nominee. And we're so excited to have him on again today to share some words with us. But it was great to have Larry there in person with us in Jacksonville, Florida. We wrapped up the day with dueling pianos, a great time, a great party. A PGA Tour Chief Marketing Officer talking about their challenges and how they relate to similar to Rotary. So we saw a lot of parallels between the PGA Tour and Rotary. But most of all, I want to thank folks who made this possible. A zone summit is not an easy task. And so I want to thank those folks that made that possible. Joy Klein, Beth Trotter, Jack Cohen, Rich Cooper, Barbara Goby, Tracy Loftus, Jeanette Loftus, Chris Justice, Lad Waldo, and our chair, Marcy Ullum, for all the great work. But the real work is done by the subcommittees. And the subcommittees are it's amazing to watch the subcommittees do the work that they do behind the scenes. Things that you never knew were done are done by those subcommittees. And so can't name all of them off right now, but just if you were on one of those subcommittees, know how much your time was appreciated as part of the Zone Summit. We will be opening registration for the Rotary Revolution very soon, the 2026 Zone Summit that's going to be in Williamsburg, Virginia. And so be on the lookout for that. In the pre-roll today, we saw the Rotary Revolution rap video. The outpouring of engagement and excitement around this video has been incredible. It has been viewed, at least on Facebook, over 100,000 times. It's been shared across Facebook over 2,000 times. I know based on the form that we use for folks to download it, it's been downloaded almost 300 times. And when people download it, they give us feedback about the video and their favorite revolution as we prepare for the Rotary Revolution next year. The feedback that we're receiving around this video has been unbelievable. But I think my most favorite video comment that I've received regarding the video was from a lady in Sweden. And she sent me a message and she said, "Finally, my son knows what Rotary does." And for me, that's what the purpose of that video was to tell the story of Rotary in a new and innovative way so people understand the power of Rotary and what we do in communities around the world and tell it in a new way. So I'm excited about this video. I hope you all are using it at club meetings, Discover Rotary events, use it everywhere, spread it far and wide. I do want to share with you the save the date for the next Zone Summit. It's going to be October 21st through 25th, 2026 in Williamsburg, Virginia, the Rotary Revolution. It's going to be another, I think, fantastic event. That's the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. So lots going on in Williamsburg, but we're also going to have a revolution of our own, and that's the Rotary Revolution. I can share with you, you may like the Rotary Revolution rap video. Another video is going to be coming out very soon, and we're going to drop the new video when we open up registration for this 2026 summit in the next month or so. The only thing I can share with you is the name of the new video is $26.50. So $26.50. Here, Arch Clump might be doing a little bit of a rap. So be on the lookout for the new video. Be on the lookout for the registration for the 2026 Zone Summit. We're just so excited to be able to visit our friends up in Virginia and have a really exciting and engaging revolution next year. With that being said, do we have Larry? Larry is on. Yes. All right, Larry. It's my pleasure and my honor right now to introduce our Rotary International President nominee, Larry Lunsford. When Patrick asked me to put this ZoomFormation together today, I mean, the first person I thought of was one of the speakers that we had at Zone Summit in Jacksonville. But one of the reasons why is because Larry is a friend to all of us. Larry is a dear friend of Rotary Zones 33 and 34. But as we look forward to October 24th of this month, World Polio Day. It's a very big day in the Rotary world to tell the story of Rotary's efforts to eradicate polio around the world. 2 countries left. But right now, there's undercurrents that are undermining a lot of what we're doing, a lot of the good work. And really wanted Larry to come on and join us. Of course, share some comments, but also share some comments about the work that's being done by Rotary to ensure that we can overcome some of this anti-vaccination message around polio and make sure that the good work of Rotary continues and the promise that we've made to the children of the world is not undermined. But with that, I'm going to hand it off to my good friend, President nominee, Larry Lunsford.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Director-elect Marshall, for that warm welcome. It is awesome to be with you as always. I'm honored to be invited, and I'm grateful to so many who would take time out of the midday of this great start to the week to come together to move our ball forward with Rotary. Let me just say very quickly that I'm thrilled. I'm absolutely thrilled with that new rap video that Marshall and his team have put together. When I saw that, I left Jacksonville early and didn't get to see that live at the summit. When I saw it, I was in immediate communication with Marshall, and then in immediate communication with our communications team in Evanston, so that those connections could be made, and so our staff in Evanston could begin to brainstorm about all the opportunities that come with that video. I'm also very excited at the title of the second rap video, $26.50, coming to you from Kansas City, as you know I do, which then means I must mention that I'm fully aware of the Chiefs and the Jaguars going to battle tonight. And I'm hopeful on our end, but I know the Jaguars are playing well. But I hope that $26.50 would have some extra meaning for someone from Kansas City, as that was the first contribution from the Rotary Club of Kansas City 13. And so we've always taken pride in having that come from our neck of the woods, so to speak. In addition, I'm thrilled to see Charles Elwood again, and thrilled that he will be sharing with this group the kind of wonderful presentation that he made at the summit. So I am here to thoroughly encourage every one of you regarding World Polio Day on October 24th. That's a Friday this year, so I'd be hopeful throughout the course of that week, and particularly those clubs that meet on Friday, that they will have some very special offerings for their club members on that particular day. And I'm going to be excited to watch the social media from your part of our Rotary world, these great Rotary Zones 33 and 34, to see the kinds of continuing and new activities that your clubs and districts can put together to continue this march to polio eradication. So I congratulate you for what you're planning. I encourage your efforts. And so let me just take the final moments I'll have with you to try to give you additional perspective and encouragement about some of the things that are happening that are moving us through and beyond as we adapt to some of the things that Marshall mentioned. The notion of anti-vaxxing, the notion of our particular United States government taking, for a few moments, a little bit of a changing look at its support of our polio eradication efforts. And so I've tried to just find a handful of tidbits that I hope through the recording you'll be able to document. Maybe they'll help you in your next presentations that would speak directly into this and would also give you some further updates. So as always, my mind is bursting with ideas and thoughts about Rotary, and I have just, I admit, come back from being in Evanston last week, going through the first parts of my president nominee orientation. And it was an unbelievably energetic week. And you know that I'm so honored to serve great Rotarians like you. And I got a little bit more of a sense of what in the world I've gotten myself into as well. So it was great in all ways, shapes, and forms. While I was in Evanston last week, our Polio Plus Committee, our International Polio Plus Committee, was meeting for one of its 3 meetings in the year. And so I had a chance to talk with Mike McGovern, our Polio Plus Committee chair, as you know, and Judith Diamond, our vice chair. She's from London. If you don't follow Judith Diamond, the last name Diment, I would encourage you to follow her on Facebook and social elements. She and Mike are in leadership. And another reason that I mention her name is something I'm going to drop here for you in just a second. And I also had a chance to sit alongside Aziz Memon. And some of you know Aziz Memon. I hope all of you know Aziz Memon. And Aziz has dedicated his life in Pakistan and to some extent in Afghanistan to be the leader of Rotary's efforts in those 2 countries. And we owe Aziz Memon and the colleagues that he leads a tremendous debt of gratitude for the work they do. And so I come away every time even more inspired toward my personal efforts for polio eradication after visiting with Aziz. The committee was very positive about the status of things in Pakistan and Afghanistan. And that's the first of the things I want you to take note of. Very positive. Large immunization campaigns in both countries. Fantastic efforts. More traction than we've seen in years. Those sorts of trend lines are, I would suggest, things that you will want to share with your colleagues. We still are at the site to site rather than house to house vaccination efforts in Afghanistan. It ebbs and flows. And when we're able to go house to house, we're at our best, right? Right now, the de facto government, the Taliban, allowing site to site, where we set up a site about every 5 houses and kind of set up camp at the end of the street or the dirt road, so to speak, to continue to try to get to person by person. The efforts in Pakistan, for those of you that heard me speak in Jacksonville, are really, really going very well. The government has changed over. A great young lady back in the polio program leadership efforts in Pakistan. Things are looking very, very strong there. You know, another way I've begun to frame this in my mind, that might be a way to talk to our Rotarians about this. I saw a post recently, or a tidbit from Mike McGovern, and he was commenting about what now is a 46-year journey since the first polio eradication efforts in the Philippines. And it strikes me that as we've now re-signed another 3-year commitment with the Gates Foundation, and as we move hopefully every day closer, 2029 would be the end of a 50-year journey. And I think it would be outstanding to complete a 50-year journey, either in 27, 28, when I have the privilege of serving as president, or in 28, 29, which is the end of our current GPEI strategy and the end of our current 3-year arrangement with the Gates Foundation. That would be a wonderful mile marker. So the notion of 50 years at anything is significant. And Rotary can say, hopefully, that we would have been able to eradicate that second disease from the world and staying committed to it for 50 years. So a couple of initial tidbits for you. Let me talk about the United States government and the anti-vaxxing. I benefit now from beginning, once I've become official, to getting molded and shaped up by good people that are in the kind of work that Marshall does. And so I've gotten just yesterday a series of talking points as I prepare for a particular interview on our local Kansas City NPR station on Wednesday. And the first thing I want to mention, and the recording will allow you to take this sentence, I want to suggest to each of you to include this anytime you speak about polio. The question that is contemplated: what is Rotary's position on immunization? As the first organization to envision a polio-free world through the mass immunization of children, Rotary believes the decision to vaccinate is a humanitarian imperative. That's the phrase, friends. So that sentence is a tidbit in my brief time with you that I wanted you to have. Rotary believes the decision to vaccinate is a humanitarian imperative. So, as it relates to the United States government at this stage of the game, first of all, I want everyone on this call to know, as we quickly discussed in Jacksonville, that we have successfully, when I say we, the Global Polio Eradication Advocacy Task Force for the United States, is proud to say that we have successfully gotten back into the next year's government budget, the $265 million that is level funding that we've been having the last 3 years. It's happened in a different way. You know, no longer World Health Organization connection in this slight moment in time. USAID, that's the channel through which the US government allowed those funds to be used. Well, now we're going through the Senate Labor, Health and Human Services Department with the $180 million that used to go to the CDC directly. And now we're going through the Department of State with the $85 million that used to go through USAID. Did you track that? Now we're going through the Labor, Health and Human Services budget for the $180 million that used to go to the World Health Organization. And we're going through the $85 million through the Department of State that used to go to USAID. And now the challenge is still that we will have the same outcome, friends, that those monies were then sent to the World Health Organization and UNICEF, right? So we are adapting. We've been successful, and now we'll find new ways to get that money to the World Health Organization and UNICEF. Really a huge tidbit that I want you to take with you. Not only finding a way to work around and through, but also finding new partners and channels to be able to get those funds to those implementing partners on the ground that Rotary has always worked with. Let me just polish that one level by saying that what developed that we learned and got insight on was something that kind of generally was termed as an America First global health strategy. An America First global health strategy. And we played into that in the sense that to allow polio to come back to the United States could not happen. And that resonated and I think won the day. And so we also remember, friends, that Rotary's worked through and alongside a lot of different administrations, many administrations of our government. And what a great example now of being able to say we're continuing to do the same thing. Maybe lastly, I know time is running quickly. I mentioned Judith Diamond, wonderful lady from London. Hope many of you have met her. I just saw a post on her social media today that I'm paraphrasing. She is the vice chair to Mike McGovern of our International Polio Plus Committee. She's in Berlin right now for something that I don't exactly know the full details around, but she called it the R7 meeting of Rotary clubs from the European capital cities. So she's a member of the London Rotary Club. And so I get the feeling that perhaps at least 7 different European capital city clubs come together, maybe a little bit like the large clubs sometimes come together for conferences in the United States. She was posted with a photo with a lady from Germany who's the national advocacy advisor for Germany, right? This lady just secured 30 million euros for the Global Polio Eradication Initiative. Wow is right. And why am I connecting those two things? You know why I'm connecting those two things. Our United States leadership matters. It matters across the board. It matters in global health. And it matters in our partnership in Rotary. And not only is it important that our government has leadership, as it has now again exhibited, but it makes a difference around the world. You might say one thing or another. I choose to think there's a direct connection between one thing and the other. And it's 2 wonderful examples of how we're going to continue to speak into and show by action how we view vaccinations, how we carry on through any anti-vaccination noise, and how we will eradicate polio. So, Marshall, those are just a few tidbits that I felt were polished and add value. As I said, we've been around our initiative for 46 years since the Philippines and nearly 40 years formally with Rotary leadership around the world. And sometimes it's not easy to talk about polio in new and different ways. That's what I've tried to do for you today. And I hope everyone takes encouragement. And I look forward to watching all of your work over these next few weeks as we remind the world that Rotary is a leader in polio eradication. Awesome to be with you. Let me know how I can help you. Marshall, back to you. Thank you.
Larry, I appreciate you being here and I appreciate those words. I heard that, Rotary continues to adapt and identify ways to make sure that we do not stop until this mission is complete. I see in the chat that we have dropped in that language as the first organization to envision a polio-free world through the mass immunization of children. Rotary believes the decision to vaccinate is a humanitarian imperative. So certainly do appreciate that. Real quick, Larry, before you leave, I did want to see, do you have a prediction for tonight's game?
I do, in fact.
All right, let's hear it.
It's important to always come prepared, and I do see this relatively clearly. A 28-16 Chiefs win. I do see it.
All right.
I may pay for that later. I may pay for that later among this group, and I'm happy to do so.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a great game. I did hear the Hyatt where we all had our Currents of Creativity Summit. Apparently, Taylor Swift has reserved the private room in the Mortons tonight before the game for a party of 10. The wait staff was asked to leave their phones and Apple Watches at the door when they went in. So we know Taylor Swift is going to be in the house to watch the game and maybe bring home a Chiefs win. So Larry, again, thank you for being with us and go Jaguars.
and go Jaguars. I'm all about that too. Let's have a great game. Thanks to all of you. Thanks
again for being with us. Yep. All right. So now it's my pleasure and honor to introduce you all to someone that you may have met in Jacksonville. And this is my good friend, Charles Elwood. Charles is a Microsoft Artificial Intelligence Most Valuable Professional, an MVP, and he works with AI every single day. Many of you attended his workshop, maybe heard one of the keynotes that he gave where he talks about how we can use artificial intelligence to do good in the world. Charles is also helping me right now with a Rotary project. I'm actually heading up to Evanston this weekend for some meetings, and we're using AI tools to look at the zone configuration in North America based on some of the membership changes, and how do we do some reconfiguration of those zones, and how do we use AI to optimize and minimize the impact on zones that may be affected. So Charles, I can't thank you enough for that work that you've been helping me with. Actually, Charles is carrying the majority of that work. I'm just kind of along for the ride and providing feedback. Certainly appreciate the time. I did ask Charles to join us today, though, because I know so many of you enjoyed the workshop, and just Charles didn't get to tell a few of the other stories that of some of the other stuff that he's using AI for in terms of doing good in the world. So Charles, I'm going to hand it off to you and share some of those other great projects that you've been able to help with using artificial intelligence.
That sounds great. So you were cutting out a little bit. Was that on me or on your side?
I'm not sure. You sound good.
Okay. All right. I'll keep going then. So first of all, thank you, Marshall. And I met many of you, including Larry, Chris Justice at the Jacksonville Summit. So thrilled to be here. Thank you for the invite to speak again. I believe some of you weren't, is it correct, Marshall, that some didn't attend the Jacksonville Summit?
That's right. Yeah. So not everyone in here was able to make it. Sure.
So two of the short stories I'll share are repeats. So bear with me. And then I have two stories about how I've used AI, and they're all Rotary stories, interestingly. So I'll share those stories too. And I just want to address, so I'm in Michigan. I'm a Lions fan. And maybe I should, so the Jacksonville and the Chiefs game today, because I was in Jacksonville, sorry, Larry, I'm for the Jags. at the game tonight. But I wanted to share that, and then let's start with the stories, and I'm gonna let's see. So I think Marshall, you didn't mention, but I'm a Microsoft AI MVP, and that means I work closely with Microsoft and I work with some of their cutting edge technology before it gets used in the public. I'm also the president of the Lakeshore United Rotary Club. And this, using AI and aligning with Rotary and what our mission is has allowed me to increase my impact all over the world, really. So, and today I'm going to share some of my stories about my work in Thailand and how I've used AI to kind of increase my impact globally too. Um, and this is a story I shared in Jacksonville, but it's an important story because it's how I started my whole journey. But on the left of this picture, you see a girl. Her name is Maria. And I met her when I joined a Rotary during the pandemic. I joined a Rotary Zoom call because I was kind of bored at home and I wanted to join a meeting. And the San Juan Club, which is in District 34, I believe, had a Zoom link available. And I got on and I saw a video of Maria and her mother. And there was an organization that was working with Maria. She was born nonverbal and with motion constraints. So she was not able to communicate with the world. And she was using house signs with her mother, who's shown there on the right. But through collaboration with Microsoft, and after watching this video of her, explaining that her dream was to swim, right? She's in Puerto Rico. So this organization took her out to swim and accomplish her dream. But then we learned that Microsoft had some technology where we could train a camera to understand her signs the way she signs them with her mother. So we took this device and we trained it to understand how she spoke with for her hands, the way she spoke. And then we learned also that Microsoft had some technology where we could clone somebody's voice and give her a voice again. The interesting thing is let me check my time real quick. 1:44. So they also wanted a portable device so she could go anywhere and speak the way she could, and it could be audible. But with this voice cloning technology, we had to have a voice, and she was born without a voice. So this is a key part is Microsoft assigned a team of engineers, and we worked and worked. And I remember sending an email to her mother, Isis, there shown on the right, and we cloned her mother's voice. And I asked her mother, would you mind if I cloned your voice and gave it to your daughter? And I still remember the email. She said, absolutely, Charles, there's nothing more that I want than to give my daughter my voice. So I still have that email, but we were able to then combine it into this one device so that she could sign in her own way to this device and it would speak back in her mother's voice to anyone in the world. And the implications of this are pretty big because you can imagine, as one Microsoft MVP or Microsoft's VP told me, is she could now tell her story to the world. It gives her dignity. It takes away her disability, her inability to communicate with the world. And this VP at Microsoft said, imagine she could do a TEDx talk and tell her story by just signing to this device. And all these stories that were locked inside could now be, shared with the world. So that's my first story that I wanted to share. And the picture on the right, I wanted to highlight because we built a prototype. We sent it down to Puerto Rico, and her mother immediately tested out the device and signed the word Khmer, a word she uses very often, and it spoke back, and she smiled, a smile of hope for freedom and dignity for her daughter, right, going forward. So I wanted to share that story first. Some of you heard that, but I also wanted to pinpoint that after this story was shared, Microsoft nominated me for the Microsoft AI MVP Award, which is, and it originated because of the club in Puerto Rico doing this great work. I also shared this story, but this is important because I started crossing over more into Rotary and my president of my Rotary Club. These are some pictures of some events that our Rotary Club has held and organized. And what I've done is what I set up, and we can talk about if anybody wants to join the breakout session. But I set up in ChatGPT a projects file. And in the projects, I load our bylaws, meeting minutes, profiles of all our members, and I can have conversations with those documents using ChatGPT and the more advanced version. And what I did is I asked for a profile of our members and how we could benefit our community here in West Michigan, and also build more value into our membership, and give them value too, and connect them with the community. And it did several interesting things. First, it identified that we have a very diverse group, and many were restaurant owners. So the picture on the right you see is a noodle cook-off event where we featured the restaurants, and you see some Polynesian dancers in the background. But people came out that had never heard of Rotaract before. We sold out of tickets 3 times, and several of our members got to showcase their businesses and share their culture and food with the community, right? So this was a very successful event that AI helped, identify what it is about our club that's special, and then matched us with the community with this event. The other thing we learned is our club membership is very young. There's a bunch of young professionals looking for, positions in the community. We learned that our community is made up of many manufacturers and factories. So we matched up. We've been starting to do tours this season of factories, and we get our membership in front of factory members who are looking for labor, for help in manufacturing in their offices. And you can also see in the picture below, we also invite members from other Rotary clubs. So I think there's Plainwell Rotary members and our Noon Club members that come and join our factory tours and increase our network in the community. So it's a win-win for the community, some of the companies, and also for our club members. The final thing I wanted to point out was, we're on Lake Michigan. And we partnered with our Rotary Club because they have several boats. So we now meet during the summer on Lake Michigan with Rotary members, and they share the boats, and we bring our members who don't have boats. So it's a very West Michigan thing, but we go out on Lake Macatawa, Lake Michigan. And then during the winters, when we can't go out on boats, we meet at our members' restaurants, which is just a nod back to Rotary, our origins, right? Meeting at the original founding members' houses. We now meet at member restaurants. So I wanted to share that as AI and this ability to talk to our documents and understand our identity has really met us where we can add value to our own members and to other members in the community. I'm going to go now, and maybe before we go into the next 2 slides, I'll do a time check. So we've got about 4, 5, 6 minutes. If everybody could put in the chat, I'd like to learn if you have not logged into any type of GPT-4 or AI, if you don't use it, or if you've logged in, you create an account, maybe use it once or twice a day, or if you do it like me and use it all day, every day, and for pretty much everything you do. If you could put in the chat, that would be interesting for me to query from you. So the last 2 slides this is our Interact trip to Thailand that we just took this summer. I use AI to really plan the trip. Many of you have heard that it helps really with planning with your itinerary. And it really helped us find some hotels that were off the beaten path, that were willing to negotiate and give the students rates so that the students here from West Michigan could afford to go to Thailand. So it really, really helped with the cost and the planning of this trip. But you see here 2 very interesting events that we planned for in Thailand. Number 1 on the left, you see we rode elephants, and it wasn't AI involved, but we met with an elephant farm that was run by Burmese hill tribe people, and in Thailand they're known as the elephant whisperers. And you could see there we're riding without the elephant chairs because this is the more ethical way to ride elephants. And this was one of the favorite parts of the trip for the students coming from West Michigan to Thailand to ride elephants, right? Wonderful trip for them. But the one on the right, that's a picture of us at the Hua Hin School. Because of my Rotary connections in Thailand, the Hua Hin Interact Club planned a full day immersion event where our interactors from West Michigan met with interactors at this school in Hua Hin, Thailand, and across all language barriers and all the cultural barriers, they became friends. They shared Instagram handles. They still communicate about this, and this was their favorite part of the trip. And the beauty of this is this was Rotary, this was students going across the world, and even through language barriers, they danced together, they sang together, and they connected across the world together. So I wanted to share that it was such a useful or such an important trip for these students to experience. And you can see there's actually two students who are half Laotian in the picture in the left side. This was the first time they came to the US. Their parents came during the Vietnam era. This was the first time they've ever been back to Southeast Asia. How are we doing on time? So 3 minutes. Oh, you're muted, Cookie. Did you? No. Okay. I thought you said something. So, and then just a real quick ending story. I didn't have time to share this at in Jacksonville, but I have used AI very recently to apply for world trade missions across the globe to bring AI across the world. And the U.S. Commercial Services was taking a trip. This was about a year and a half ago to the Philippines, and I stopped in Thailand first, and then they went to Nusantara, which is the new capital replacing Jakarta, because Jakarta is flooding and slowly sinking. So they've actually had to build on the island of Borneo a new capital city. So you can see there on the left, I use AI to apply for this trip. I got on this trip, and then I used AI to apply for the funding and scholarship. And, it took maybe a week to apply and get in. And then another week, it actually took me about 5 minutes to apply because I used AI, but it took them another week to process the scholarship and the funding to support me on this trip. But on the left there, you see me and at the time, U.S. Undersecretary Marissa Lago standing on the grounds of the presidential palace in Nusantara. And we took a picture there, which is in the middle of the jungle. It's beautiful to see this new city that they have to build because their whole capital is sinking. But while I was in Indonesia, I got to speak with the health department, the Ministry of Health. Indonesia struggles with growth stunting in children. About 10 years ago, it was 30% of their youth because they couldn't get nutrition to the children. Because of this trade mission, I was able to speak with the Ministry of Health and propose a plan to use AI to reduce growth stunting in children and improve the logistics of getting food and nutritional food out to all the children in Indonesia. So you can kind of see, with Rotary, I think, Marshall, this goes back to what we envisioned is, the impact of Rotary, the power of AI, our mission, we can scale our impact by using AI to kind of expand our reach. And then on the right, this is very personal to me. The story I want to share is that I'm running out of time, so I'm going to speed up on this one. But I used AI on this last trip where I took the students to Thailand. I finally got my dual citizenship with Thai and America. I'm a dual citizen in both countries. And you can see in this picture here, I used AI to translate because a lot of the documents about dual citizenship are in Thai. So I used it to understand what forms I had to submit. And on this trip with the students, I went and you could see my whole family went to the government office and we went in and I signed 10 documents in Thai. I've never done that before, but I signed all 10 documents in Thai and achieved my dream of getting my dual citizenship within Thailand. But the other really cool thing is in this picture, you see my whole family was there. Most people were there to renew their passports, just one or two people. I had a whole crowd of my family in the office. So that was my last story about how AI can impact the world. And if you have any questions, I'd love to answer them in the breakout session.
All right, Charles, awesome presentation. And it is so gratifying to hear that AI can be used for good. All this time, I've been doing things like putting Raiders jerseys on Larry Lunsford. I mean, it's great to hear that it can be used for good as well. All right. You are going to have the opportunity in just a second to visit with Charles in a breakout room. You can also choose to visit with Director-elect Marshall or President nominee Larry. But first, we're going to talk about a couple of upcoming events. MAP webinar is right around the corner. That's going to happen next Monday at 5:30. I'm going to be talking Discover Rotary. And then our Foundation Matters webinar, October 16th, and that is at 6 p.m. Eastern. Then our always popular public image webinar, that's happening October 28th, and that's going to be talking about brand power. And as Marshall mentioned, registration will be opening for next year's Zone Summit. That's going to be happening October 21st through 25th. Join the Rotary Revolution in Williamsburg. And of course, Rotary International Convention, always on our minds. That's going to be happening in Taipei, Taiwan, 13th through 17th of June. And I know registration is already open for that. And as always, make sure that you pay attention to our social channels. Like as much as you can, share, and post if that's applicable to your particular position. All right, so we're going to be opening the breakout rooms. As mentioned, you've got three choices. Whenever I press play on this thing, the way it's supposed to work is you will get a pop-up that allows you to choose a breakout room. If that doesn't work, hopefully you see breakout room in the bottom banner. And if you don't see that, press the more button. And if all else fails and you're still stuck in the main lobby, Sean and I will work to get you in a room. So opening rooms now.